July is almost done, and with NHL training camps on the horizon, fans are already starting to wonder what their team's lineups will look like for the 2024-25 season. So in this video, I'll give you my thoughts on just that for the Montreal Canadiens. Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Thanks for joining me. We all have our own ideas for how the Habs lines and pairings should shake out. Who'll play on what line or pairing, who should start in goal, who should play with who and why. So these are mine. We are all kind of hoping GM Kent Hughes finds a way to get 5th overall pick Ivan Demidov to Montreal to start next season. There are a ton of rumors swirling about just that. And Hughes has mentioned it in very vague terms as well. Of Montreal paying off his contract or like whatever they have to do to get him here, like the Flyers did with Matvei Michkov. So here's why I believe it most likely doesn't happen. First, Demidov cannot be loaned to another KHL team. And that's because he has only 1 year left on his SKA contract. It must be a rule with the Russian league. I don't know exactly why that is, but apparently that is. So it's SKA or the MHL or the VHL. The MHL is like, say, CHL or OHL, and the VHL is like the AHL. It's against the rules of the current CBA for an NHL team to pay a transfer fee to acquire a player. So Montreal, it would be illegal for them to do that. From the KHL's point of view, it's okay to be paid a fee to transfer a player to another league, so no problem on that side. The Habs would need to do what the Flyers did to get Matvei Michkov over early. They need to have a mutual agreement between Demidov, SKA, and themselves, and a handful of magic beans or something like that, I think. So Montreal has no control over this situation, and the best they can do is to sort of convince SKA to keep Demidov in the KHL and help develop him. Demidov will play somewhere. He'll be good wherever he plays, and Montreal just has one season to wait for him, so really no worries, and it's not like SKA is going to go out of their way to totally ruin this kid in one season. I don't think that's something to worry about, in my opinion. Just a few thoughts on the guys that will be or might be in the lineup for Montreal this coming season. Raphael Harvey-Pinard, I think he had an accident. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but he broke a leg pretty badly, and he had surgery to repair the broken leg. He'll be out from anywhere from 4 to 6 months, so you're looking at the end of October to like early December till he comes back, so that opens up a spot. I don't think they make too many changes, though, other than that to the lineup to start the season. So we'll see how that works out. There's time for a trade, but we'll see what happens. They may want to bring in somebody for that second line winger spot for, a short period of time. I don't know what's out there on the market. I think it would be through a trade, and we can't really predict that. You have to consider having a healthy Doc all season is like adding like a new star player this year. Right? We didn't have him all year last year, so they were missing that. And if he does stay healthy and he plays the whole year and he is the Doc that I'm expecting him to be, that is like having a brand new star player in the top 6. Joshua Roy will make the team out of camp, in my opinion. And unless Montreal does make a move to add a winger, I think Joshua Roy, I think that second line wing position is his to lose, because that's the guy I think most of us think would be in there. What's his name now? Barry Boulay. I don't know. It's for Alex Barry Boulay and Mike Pezzetta should both occupy the 4th line left wing slot, like depending on matchup. So depending on who they're playing, depends on the guy there. If somebody's injured, obviously, then that opens it up for the other guy. But I think that's what we're looking at there. I also think that a guy like Luke Tuck or even Florian Jacki could win a spot there too. Most likely Tuck, though, and probably, I would think, only if there's an injury. On defense, Lane Hudson makes the team out of camp. I mean, I don't think that's much in doubt personally. And unless they move either Harris, Barron, or Struble, it's probably Harris and Barron as the 6th and 7th defenseman. And Struble goes to Laval since he still has waiver exemption. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the lineups. I'll go over that one line at a time, one pairing at a time. Give you the extra, like the 13th forward, the 7th defenseman. And then I'm going to give you a list of players that I think could make an appearance for whatever length of time during this season. Could maybe stick around once they make that appearance. And yeah, I'll give you a list of players that I think could do that. And yeah, let's get right to that. All right, we'll lead off with the forwards. And I'd like to say this first is that we'd all like to see like a number of these young players in the system to make their debuts this year. Now, while this may happen at some point during the season, I don't know that they start the season with a whole bunch of kids in the lineup. And I think it looks a lot like it did last year with a few changes. And we'll start off with line 1, and I don't think anybody's going to be surprised, or I would say 95% of Habs fans would have this line as their number 1 line to start the season, and that is, of course, Nick Suzuki at center, Juraj Slafkovsky on the left side, and Cole Caulfield on the right side. Line 1, a legitimate line 1, 3 young players, all signed to really good contracts, by the way, that are... they haven't already made their breakout year. I think this year they do. In Suzuki's case, point per game player. I think for Caulfield, you're looking at 35 goals, maybe more. And Slafkovsky, I really seriously think he'll be looking at 70 points, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. I think these are breakout years in stats that fans really wanted to see these guys excel at. I think they're ready, and I think we're going to see it this year. Line 2. Line 2, I think we're going to have Kirby Dach, obviously centering that line. I don't think he's the winger on line 2, at least not with the guys that are in the lineup right now. So Dach centering line 2. I think you have Alex Newhook on the left side. Newhook was... he had a career year last year in points. He's going to have that again, I do believe. I think Newhook could have a breakout year. We'll have to see how that works out for him, but I think he'll look really good next to Dach. And I think on the other side, we're going to see young Joshua Roy. So there's one of the young players who showed us a little something last year, that's for sure. I think he gets a real shot here to place hold a little bit for Ivan Demidov. And to see what he's got, what he can contribute to the team, and where he really fits in here. I really like to see Roy at this spot to start the season, and we'll see if he can hang on to that all year or not, and how he performs. Line 3. Line 3 is an interesting line because I think we're going to see 3 guys there that are potentially... They have to be there because of their contracts, unless they can move them. They got to be played, and I think they're all going to be played together. I think Christian Dvorak centers. He's in the final year of his contract. He could be gone by trade deadline time, and, you bring a guy in like Owen Beck, something like that. We'll have to see, but I think he starts the season there. Josh Anderson had a horrible year last year. I really believe Andy will have a bounce-back year. I don't know where to play him, though. Do you play him second line, right wing? I don't think they take that chance to start the season, but they might. But I'm going to say you start him on the left side. Yes, he can play both wings, and see how he bounces back. And on the other side, you got Brendan Gallagher. I don't think you play Gallagher on the left side. He's a natural right wing. He's got 3 years left on that deal. He had a really good second half of last year. If he plays with that kind of energy, that never say die kind of galley spirit, I think he's got another year left in him. After that, I don't know. But with what he showed at the end of last year, you got to give him a shot. You're not going to have this guy making what he does either on the fourth line or not, or sitting on the bench. You can't have that. So Devo, Anderson, and Galley, that's line 3. Now, line 4, we have a new player there, but we're going to start off with Jake Evans in the final year of his contract. I don't think anybody unseats him. I think Evans could be traded at the deadline as well. But I think he starts the season centering line 4. On his left, we'll have Alex Barré-Boulet. That's the new guy they just signed. He's experienced, coming from, I believe, Tampa's organization. Rumored year after year after year that he will sign with Montreal, or they're trading for this kid because he's a local kid. Fourth line, either center or wing, I think that's fine for Barré-Boulet. With Raphael Harvey-Pinard, injured, that takes him out. Maybe that's the reason why they signed Barré-Boulet. But I don't know if he was injured then. We'll see. It'll come out. And Mike Pezzetta is also there in his final year. He could be the guy that plays there. I think you're going to see both of them, depending on the matchup, like I said earlier. And I think, that's who's playing on the left side. On the right side, a guy who had a career year in goals last year, surprisingly, was Yoel Armia, who was basically everybody's whipping boy. Had 17 goals, and it's nothing to really write home about, but it's a career year for him. I think, he's a good fourth-line player when he's scoring like that. And he can score like that playing third or fourth line. He's in the final year of his contract. Could also be gone by the deadline, especially if he does have a good year and he is putting up some points. So, yeah, I think you got Evans, Barré-Boulet, and Armia as your line 4. And there you go. And I'll remind you, let me know what you think in the comment section. Am I crazy? Would you put somebody else in a different spot? Let me know in the comment section what you think about that. The defensive core. I don't think it's going to look that much different than last year, especially if you just look at the last 2 games of the season when Lane Hutson arrived. I don't think it looks much different. I don't think the younger guys are ready to step in. I'm talking Reinbacher, Mailloux. I don't think they're ready to step in just yet. I think they start in Laval. So we'll start off with the first pairing, and that's going to be Mike Matheson and Caden Gooley. Both left side defensemen, but they also both play the right side, so I don't think this is an issue. Matheson is your number 1 defenseman on this team. He had, 60 points last year? Especially he's got 2 years left on a pretty good deal for a 60-point defenseman, that's for sure. I think, without a doubt, Matheson's your number 1 guy. Gooley's the guy that's going to play next to him. They've done that already last year, and I think that's a really good pairing. Second pairing, Lane Hutson on the left side. I can't wait to see Lane Hutson start the season in Montreal and have a great season. I don't think that's in doubt. It's really kind of like, how many points can this kid get in his first year? So we'll see what that number is, but he's definitely going to be on the left side on the second pairing, and he's going to have his mentor over there, and that is going to be David Savard. Good pairing. I think Savard is here with Montreal until they feel Reinbacher is ready to take over that spot, because the pairing of Hutson and Reinbacher just makes sense. And if you just how that rolls off your tongue, Hutson and Reinbacher sounds like a legal firm. So till Reinbacher's ready, Savard is definitely going to be his partner. They were good in those 2 games together, and let's see how that works out for the full season. So that's pairing 2. Pairing 3, Arbor Xhekaj. I think Arbor Xhekaj, who's going to get a new contract like any minute now, Arbor Xhekaj will be your third pairing guy. I don't think he's your 7th defenseman. I think you need his size and physicality and his intimidation factor. I think you need all that in the lineup every day, every game. And I think he's going to end up being paired with Barron, Justin Barron. I know people might even be laughing at me right now, but I think it's going to be Barron that starts the season there on the right side. Mostly because of the other three guys, and if you want to include Harris and Struble, because there's been no other trade other than Kovacevic yet of a young defenseman. He's the natural right side defenseman, so I think that's going to be, he needs to be signed to a new contract. He has no waiver exemption rights. Yeah, so I think you're looking at that, right? So, and I think for your seventh defenseman, depending on if there's any trades. If there's no trade, I think it's going to be Jordan Harris, because Struble has still on his ELC, so he's got waiver exemption, so you can move him up and down. And, you know, so if they do trade Harris, then it'll be Struble. I don't think, maybe during the season, one of Reinbach or Mailloux, maybe somebody else gets a call up and they stick if there's an injury or something. But I think this is how the season starts for the defensemen. All right, goalies. I'm not going to spend much time on goalies. Why? I don't think it's much in doubt. It's going to be Sam Montembeault starting. Caden Primo is going to back him up. So unless, like, I think even if one or both of those guys, like, don't have the best camp, I still think it's the starter and backup. So unless there's an injury, maybe we got Jacob Dobish comes in. That's it. I don't think there's much need to spend time on goalies. Now, for the other players that might end up making an appearance, you know, based because of injuries, maybe one of these guys wins a job out of camp. Could be. Let's take a look at who those might be. So I mentioned Luke Tuck. These are forwards. Mentioned him already on left wing. Possibility he could win a job on the fourth line out of camp. I'm not sure. I think definitely a possibility that if one of the fourth liners does get injured, this guy could get a call up. Oliver Kapanen, been playing really well in Europe. He's a center. He's a guy that could play third line, fourth line in case of an injury, so he could be a call up. I believe he'll be in the AHL this coming season. We have let's see, Owen Beck. Owen Beck, I think some people actually expect that he will win a job out of camp. I don't know that he does, but I think if Devo or Evans or Doc, one of the centers gets injured, I think Beck gets a call-up and gets a look to see if he's ready to stick it out of, in the NHL. Let's see, we got Florian Jacki. Florian Jacki, who would have thought this kid is as good as he is? I would not put it out of the realm of possibilities that this kid comes to camp and wows them. And if he does that, could get a job out of camp, or it could be a first call-up for a bottom six forward if there's an injury. Sean Farrell, and, I think Sean Farrell might be the kind of guy that actually gets moved in a deal. But, center, highly thought of. Maybe falling down a little bit in the depth chart because of more recent draft picks. But Sean Farrell could get a look this year. We got Philip Machar. Philip Machar, right winger. He's a bit on the small side, but definitely super uber talented. He'll play in the AHL with Laval. I don't know that he would get a job out of camp. But, I mean, he's a guy that could get a call-up during the season if there's an injury, I think, for sure. I'd put Ivan Demidov in there because we don't know what's going to happen. There's an outside chance he could be here. Or it's possible that he's here near the end of the season and gets a game or two or something like that at the end of the season, so I put his name up there. On defense, David Reinbacher, he could win a job out of camp. I don't think so. I think they want to see him with a bigger sample size. He played 11 games, I believe, last season in Laval. They want to see him play in Laval a little bit longer. I agree with that, but during the season, if there is an injury on the right side on the defense, I could see Reinbacher getting the call up. Adam Engstrom, this is a kid out of Sweden. I don't know a ton about him. I just know that this kid could make the team on a call up and get a look-see at some point this season. And then from there, I don't know. And he's a left side defenseman. And then Logan Mailloux, who I don't think is ready defensively yet, although he looked fine in his one game last season. Very small sample size. But I think at some point during the season, Mailloux will get another look and could win a job if there's an injury as well. And as I said for goalies, Jacob Dobish, I don't think there's another goalie in the system. Right now, Jacob Fowler not ready to get a look. He's in college anyway. So until that changes, he's not getting a look. He won't be at camp. And these are the guys that I think we might see at some point during the season, depending on what happens. So let me know what you think in the comment section about pretty much everything I said here. You agree, disagree, where you don't agree, let me know. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, let me know what you think. And hopefully we're looking at a much different year next season coming up where we'll have an improved team and players will be a little bit better and you'll see the young kids getting better. And who knows where we go from there. So that's it. Like I said, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, everybody. Peace out. Give it a thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe. And hey, share the video and let people know that this video is out there. And that's it till next time. Have a great day, everybody.